Good evening, everybody. I am Dipanjan Ghosh. Today, I want to discuss the another major chapter of Neet syllabus, that is neural contour and coordinations. So, first of all, I want to discuss there is two coordinated system in our body. One is chemical coordinator, which is done by hormone, and another is the physical coordinator, which is the neural system. So first of all, how do the neural system coordinate it? So we know that is the neuron is actually coordinate the external environment with the internal environment by the process of receptor to sensory neuron to center, from center to through motor neuron to effector, and thus it maintains the coordination, physical coordinations. And neuron contains say body and process. That is the structure. Here I have seen the dendrites, the say body, that is the neurocyton, which is known as neurocyton, that is the nucleus. And Nizzi ganu is basically presents to the say body, and the axon. And the axon, and axons, the membrane of axons is the axoema, that is the myelin sheath presents here, and the Swansea also presents here, and node of Ranvier. And the terminal portion is called the end brush. So now if we but in Neet, which is very important, that is the axon. Axon is very important here. Myelin sheath, basically the compositions of myelin sheath is very important. Myelin sheath contain the sphingomyelin, we know. And if we go to the structure of neuron, then we can find out it have been classified into 5 category. First is the apoyar, that is say body do not contain any process. That is the example is very important for Neet, that is the amacrine say of retina. And the unipolar, that is the in embryonic stage, the unipolar neuron is found. That is it contain only one poi, and that will generate axon and dendron. And the example is basically in embryonic conditions. And the bipolar type is basically found to retina, that is the bipolar phase of retina. Multipolar basically found to the central nervous system, and the pseudo unipolar is basically found to the DRG of spinal cord. And functionally, neurons have been classified into 3 categories: sensory, motor, and adjuster. Okay, and on the basis of length of axons, we have classified neuron into 2 types. One is the Golgi type 1, that is the axon is large, and the another is the axon where the axon is small, that is the Golgi type 2. It is basically found to cerebral cortex, retina, and cerebellum. Okay, so cerebral cortex, that is cerebrum, retina, and cerebellum contain Golgi type 2 neuron. And if we go to the mediated and non-mediated nerve fiber, that is one contain the myelin sheath, another do not contain it. And mediated nerve fiber contain axis cylinder, which is basically originated from the axon hillock, we know, the myelin sheath and neuriema. Okay, and myelin sheath basically gray matter nerve fiber are non-mediated. In CNS, the gray matter nerve fibers are non-mediated, where the white matter contain the myelin sheath. Okay, so this is very crucial and very important. And now I come to the nervous systems of human. It contains the central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. We know central nervous system contains brain and spinal cord, and the peripheral nervous system contains the cranial nerve and spinal nerve. And cranial nerves are 2 pair, we know, that is the olfactory, optic, oculomotor, trachea, trigemini, abducens, facial, auditory, glossopharyngeal, vega, spina excessa, and hypoglossal. That is. And the spinal nerves are, we know, cervical, thoracic, lumbar, sacral, coccygeal. Cervical 8, thoracic T1 to T12, lumbar 5, sacral 5, and coccygeal 1, so 31. And within them, the most important that the autonomic nervous systems have been included within peripheral nervous systems. Autonomic nervous system contain basically sympathetic and parasympathetic. And that sympathetic parasympathetic nerve is actually originated from the spinal portions, that is the thoracolumbar portions, whereas the sacrococcygeal portions is responsible for the generations of the parasympathetic nervous system. Okay, and and this is very important for NEET exams. And in human, both brain and spinal cord, that is CNS, surrounded by three tissue coverings called the meninges, and outermost portions is dura mater, the middle is the arachnoid mater, and the innermost portions is the pia mater. And if we go to the conductions of the nerve impulse, then we can find out here basically whenever the external stimulus is actually applied here, we know due to presence of the sodium ion channel, NAPS voltage gated channel, the nerve can conduct the impulse. And basically the outermost portions contain sodium ion channel, whereas the innermost portions contain KPS. But whenever the conductance is actually propagated, then the outermost portions will start to negative ion, and the innermost portions will be positive. And how do it change? Here I have seen here, that is the depolarized region and the polarized membrane. And with the event of time, whenever the conductance is actually gone forward, then the depolarization region will be enhanced, and ultimately and the diagram showing basically the conductance of the nerve impulse. Okay, and here we have seen basically the myelin sheath contains sphingomyelin, and sphingomyelin is a type of sphingolipid found in animal cell membranes, especially in the membranous myelin sheath that surrounds nerve fiber cell axons. And if we see, then we can find out the brain basically classified into three portions: forebrain or prosencephalon, midbrain mesencephalons, and hindbrain or rhombencephalons. And prosencephalons are telencephalon and diencephalon, and we know the cerebral cortex, corpus striatum, and the diencephalon is basically included in the telencephalon, and diencephalon contain the thalamus, hypothalamus, that portions. And in midbrain or mesencephalons basically classified into tectum and cerebral peduncle, and tectum is classified superior calicus, inferior calicus, whereas the cerebral tectum and cerebral peduncle, that is cerebral peduncle, contain the tegmentum and the substantia nigra and the basis and the peduncle. And hindbrain contain basically the cerebellum, it contains cerebellum, and the pons media basically remain to the hindbrain portions. And if we go to the structures of brain, the different portions of brain, we know that is the frontal part, parietal part, occipital part, and temporal part, and it contains the central sulcus, that is the fissure of Royando is basically present here. And here the juxtapository between the mid region between the parietal and occipital region, that is the parieto occipital fissures, and the mid region between parietal and temporal region, that is the fissure of Savius. Okay, so this is very important portions, and whenever I will come to the aspect of cerebrospinal fluid, then you have to keep remember in your mind that is the ventricle 1 presents to the right cerebral hemisphere, ventricle 2 presents to the left cerebral hemisphere, ventricle 3 presents to the diencephalon, ventricle 4 presents to the between brain and brainstem and cerebellum. So that is very crucial, and all of you should have to know about that. That is the so first ventricle, second ventricle, and third ventricle we attach with each other by the foramen of Monroe, whereas the third we attach to the fourth by the help of cerebral aqueduct, that is the aqueduct of Savius. So this portion is very crucial because the cerebrospinal fluid is basically flow to that through that ventricle. So ventricle is very important. Ventricle 1, ventricle 2, ventricle 3, and ventricle 4. So this is very important for NEET examinations. So all of you should have to careful enough to whenever we read to that portions. Thank you.